Why do women cheat? What is the difference between male and female infidelity? Today I want to talk about this honestly, without any embellishments. And yes, there really are differences. Male and female infidelity are not the same at all. Let me be clear from the start. I am against cheating. For me, it is betrayal in any case. But let's delve deeper into this topic from the perspective of relationships, family, psychology, and even evolution. Why do we cheat? How is it perceived by our partner? Hit the like button and let's get started. The first and most important difference is that a man can cheat without love. For him, sexual contact can be something mechanical, almost like a simple physiological need. He does not necessarily have to feel emotions toward the woman he ends up in bed with. This is hardwired by nature. A man does not always form an emotional attachment to a sexual partner. Here's an interesting point. A man's oxytocin levels drop after sex rather than increase as they do in women. This means that emotional attachment does not arise immediately after intercourse. True attachment for a man develops over time when he gets used to the woman, when there is consistency and trust between them. His oxytocin rises gradually, and it is only then that he becomes genuinely loyal to his partner. From an evolutionary perspective, one-time sex for a man is not always seen as catastrophic. Yes, morally, it is wrong, but for a family, emotional infidelity is far more dangerous than physical cheating. Women I have spoken to often admit it. I am not afraid if he slept somewhere in a sauna with girls of low social responsibility. What worries me more is if he starts texting, sharing feelings, spending time with the same woman. Because it is emotional closeness that can truly destroy a relationship. Surprisingly, many women are capable of forgiving a one-time fling. But a romance where there is attachment, attention, and care for another person, that is a direct blow to the heart. For men, on the contrary, it is often harder to accept a woman's physical infidelity. For them, the very fact that she allowed another man into her life at such a level of intimacy feels like a far more serious betrayal than, for example, texting or friendship. The difference is that female infidelity is almost always tied to feelings. A woman rarely cheats purely for pleasure. Most often, her actions are driven by an emotional connection, affection, or falling in love. And this is precisely why a man perceives it as a double betrayal of both body and soul. In other words, it is a way to control a man, accuse him, make him feel guilty, and then ride that guilt all his life, giving herself the right to do the most outrageous things. But I will talk about that a little later. Now let's return to the very concept of infidelity from the perspective of nature. A woman never cheats just like that. Even if she does it out of revenge, resentment, dissatisfaction, or in search of compensation, still, after sexual contact, her body produces the hormone oxytocin. A woman's brain is designed so that if intercourse occurs, there is a chance of pregnancy, and consequently, a chance of becoming a mother. The brain does not care whether there was a condom or whether she is taking any pills. The evolutionary program is clear. Sexual intercourse equals potential father of offspring. And this is precisely why a loyalty program is activated in a woman. Oxytocin surges rapidly, triggering attachment and affection. This is why it is widely known that women become attached after sex. This is also why many female psychologists advise against jumping into bed with a man immediately. You will fall in love, become attached, and he will detach. The danger of female infidelity is that even if she initially did it not out of love but simply out of attraction or emotion, she may later fall in love with that person. Her brain activates a loyalty program, puts on rose-colored glasses, and that's it.
It's not that simple. For a woman, a program of devaluing her husband is triggered, while for her lover, a program of loyalty is triggered. This is the very difference between male and female infidelity. For a man, it may mean absolutely nothing. He doesn't carry this connection back to his nest, a one-time event, a moment, a flash, and that's it. He does not develop a loyalty program toward a casual partner. His attachment to his wife can remain unshakable. Looking deeper, infidelity is always an act of compensation. Yes, it's betrayal, but here we are considering the psychological mechanism. For men, this mechanism is simple. He fulfilled some of his needs, got pleasure, and goes on with life. Most often, men cheat to make up for what they lack in their current relationship. The paradox is that, for some, it even strengthens the marriage. He returns home calmer, more satisfied, with fewer complaints. For women, it's the opposite. If a lover appears, her brain will devalue her husband and become increasingly attached to the new man. Female infidelity in its consequences for the family is many times more dangerous than male infidelity. There is another nuance. Women react especially painfully when a man starts giving his lover resources, emotional, moral, material, or time. As long as the husband is simply satisfying his physiological needs somewhere on the side, for many, this is not a catastrophe. Yes, it's unpleasant. Yes, it will hurt, but it can be survived. However, if a constant woman appears who begins to draw his attention, time, money, and care, then it is perceived as a threat to the family and to the marriage itself. Yet what I see in consultations, contrary to the stereotype that men are the main cheaters, is that in marriage they actually cheat rarely. More often, they endure to the last. Lack of sex, cold attitude, conflicts, and only in extreme cases do they decide to cheat. Women, on the other hand, do this more easily. A classic situation. The wife catches the husband cheating. Most often, a random story. A colleague at a corporate party, a casual acquaintance, or the usual drunken sauna party with girls of easy virtue. The man may not have planned anything serious at all. But the wife, upon learning of this, brings out the heavy artillery. Accusations, the traitor label, a complete nullification of his value. And then, if you can, then I can too. She takes a lover. And now her relationship with him is not just physical. She becomes more and more involved, falls in love, gets attached. It often gets to the point where she becomes pregnant and gives birth to his child. And yet, she doesn't leave the family. The husband stays, raises another man's child, and lives with it because he's hammered into a sense of guilt. And yes, in his head, he thinks, it's my fault. I started it first. Back then with the guys in the sauna. And at the same time, the woman confidently continues to do such crazy things that the man no longer has the strength to change anything. You bear no guilt for what your woman does. What she does is not equivalent to your wrongdoing. But men are often so mired in the imposed sense of guilt that they allow a woman to suppress them globally, devalue them, and drive them not just under the heel, but under the baseboard. And all this because of an episode that, in fact, does not destroy the family in any way. The man endures and thinks, I was the one who started it. Remember, you must not allow a woman to do such a thing. If it happens that you are caught cheating, just talk to her, admit the mistake, say it will not happen again, apologize. If the woman says, okay, I forgive you, you live on. Step over it, forget it. Under no circumstances should you switch on the atonement mode. Shower her with expensive gifts, let her go anywhere, give her special rights. Because in her head, the chain immediately forms, he cheated on me and I got a bunch of good things. So I can guilt him even more, and I'll get even more. What if he cheats again? Then I'll be right about everything. And if he doesn't cheat, I'll still keep him guilty because it worked the first time. And so the man lives in eternal justification while being driven into a corner, and the woman gets everything she wants and does whatever she wants. If you discuss the situation, she forgave you and stayed, it means she accepted the rules of the game. You admitted the mistake, apologized, promised it will not happen again. That's it. From here on, a new life. If she starts to recall again, but remember back then, you need to stop it. Stop. You forgave this. It was acceptable to you, otherwise you would have left, and I'm not going to pay for this all my life. The problem is that women know how to inflate guilt to monstrous proportions, giving themselves an indulgence for complete licentiousness. You slipped up once, and then she spends years having her adventures, spending your money, resources, and time, all of it justified by your guilt. Worse still, some invent a reason on purpose. Even if you did nothing, they will find a reason. For example, your job is connected with women. Photographer, fitness trainer, store clerk. That's it. You talked to chicks, stayed late at work, talked too nicely. So she will go to other men too. Remember, never justify yourself for what didn't happen. Say firmly, no means no. This is my job, and you have no right to behave that way. And if she continues, turn around, give her the boot, let her go. Believe me, she will only leave in words because she will realize that this method of manipulation doesn't work here. In her head, there's an attitude, infidelity is terrible. I'm the queen. How can anyone even cheat on me? And he dared to be happy without me? The woman is eaten up by envy that somewhere you are happy without her. That's why they cling to any little thing to accuse you. They provoke, deprive the man of intimacy, behave disgustingly, accuse for nothing. A new female coworker, an extra hour at work, that's it. It's cheating. And then, you were the one who started it, now take it. She will go to lovers, correspond on dating sites, do whatever she wants, all under the cover of your guilt. But the truth is simple. Female infidelity is not the same as male infidelity, and you cannot justify one with the other.
So, I'll say it straight. Yes, cheating is bad from any side. I myself would not be happy if my woman cheated, but if you dig deeper, in terms of consequences, female infidelity carries far heavier, catastrophic consequences than male infidelity. Every partner leaves a mark in a woman's life, mental, emotional, and energetic. When a man sleeps with a woman, he gives and leaves. He is clean. For a woman, however, every sexual contact, whether with protection or without, is recorded on the level of the psyche, hormones, and energy. The brain activates an attachment program. The body activates a loyalty program. And on a deep level, this information is literally imprinted. And each new man becomes part of her internal map. Now imagine, you think you are the only one for her, but in reality, you are just one of many. And it doesn't matter whether those men were before you or after, all of it remains with her. The more such imprints there are, the less your value in her eyes. That is why traditional societies fought so hard for female purity and fidelity. No one ever set the task of preserving a man's virginity. His sperm cells are produced constantly, new and fresh. But a woman is born with a certain number of eggs, and she will have no others. Everything she takes into herself stays with her on a molecular and even genetic level. Therefore, you cannot equate male and female infidelity. If a woman says, "You did it, so I can too," that is manipulation. No, she cannot. If I stumbled, I admit my guilt, apologize, and draw conclusions. But that does not give her the right to act the same way. It is like saying, "You stole, so I can steal." No, it doesn't work like that. And most importantly, never allow a woman to hang a permanent stone of guilt around your neck. Cheating is an offense that is either forgiven or not. If she stayed with you after your mistake, it means she accepted the rules of the game. That's it. The topic is closed. As soon as the reproaches begin, in the style of "remember when you," set a firm boundary. Stop. You forgave, we move on. Because if you start buying off guilt with gifts, extra attention, and concessions, you yourself give her an indulgence for any actions. A woman will quickly understand the more guilt a man has, the more she can allow herself. And she will start pressing, manipulating, and expanding the boundaries of what is allowed to the point of absurdity. The conclusion is simple. Cheating is bad. I am against cheating. But male and female infidelity are not the same. Female infidelity is more dangerous and destructive in psychological, emotional, and evolutionary terms. Therefore, if you have stumbled, honestly admit it, apologize, and move forward. but under no circumstances allow your guilt to become a tool for controlling you. Thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed to the channel. What do you think about this? Write in the comments and see you in the next video.